Back around 17th century, certain European countries were led by strong-willed monarchs whose fashion is composed of luxurious silk coats, skin-tight stockings combined with fancy heels. Most of these monarchs ruled them with the doctrine of absolutism.
In the context of politics, absolutism is referred as a political doctrine in which the leader of a country or territory, especially in monarchical government, holds an absolute and unlimited power which it is not restricted by such established law, legislator, or unwritten customs. Moreover, this kind of power can be justified by divine rights of kings theory, in which the ruler's power is directly derived from God. Hence, the monarch acts as representative of God's authority.
Features of absolutism includes monarch rules by divine right and decides what is best for the state. The ruler holds unlimited power. Individuals are subjects owing loyalty and obedience. The ruler dominates upper classes, which they dominate lower classes. Ceremonies symbolize the ruler's power. The ruler encourages industry and trade to strengthen the economy, and the ruler dominates cultural life either as patron of arts or by censorship.
In Europe, there are various reasons why absolutism came to existence, which includes long-term causes, likewise decline of feudalism, rise of the cities and growth of the middle class, growth of national kingdoms, and loss of church authority. And the immediate causes such as religious and territorial conflicts, buildup of armies, need for increased taxes, and revolts by the peasants or nobles, thus creating an opportunity for powerful leaders to rule.
When absolutism came into European monarchies, there were notable effects that includes the regulation of religion and society, establishment of larger courts, production of huge building projects, formation of new government bureaucracies, and loss of power by nobility and legislatures. In addition, there are long-term effects such as revolution in France, Western European influence on Russia, and English political reforms that influence US democracy.
One of the most prominent examples of absolute monarchy is none other than King Louis XIV of France, when he asserted himself with the famous line, L'État c'est moi.
L'État, c'est moi.
He ruled France for 72 years from September 1638 to September 1715, in which it was the longest reigning monarch among all European monarchs. In that long reign, he left a life-changing mark on the culture, history, and destiny of France. He gave himself the nickname Sun King for the reason that he believed that he is the son of France, in which God appointed him to be the ruler of the country, and sun was his royal emblem. One of his famous legacy is the Grand Palace of Versailles.
When Louis ascended the throne, he prioritized the centralization and expansion of France and its overseas colonies. His finance minister, Jean-Baptiste Colbert, was assigned to create reforms that shortened the deficit and fostered the growth of the country's industry. Meanwhile, the military minister, Marquis de Louvois, was given the task to expand and reorganize the French army. Louis also succeeded to confront and disable certain rebellious nobles who had engaged no less than 11 civil wars in 4 decades, by luring them into his court and teaching them the luxurious lifestyle at the Versailles Palace.
During the reign, the people of France had to obey every command that King Louis had to make, in which no one can make objections or bargains unto the king's words. In other words, the king's judgments were final and irrevocable. He appreciated art, literature, music, theater, and sports in which he appointed himself as a patron of the institution that regulates the French language, Académie Française, and established various establishments for the arts and sciences. In his 72-year reign, he waged war with the Dutch, England, and Spain. Because of these wars, he claimed the land in Central Europe for France. In addition to waging war, he would annex or absorb towns along the borders of France, slowly expanding the country. These wars and annexations helped France to become the most dominant country in Europe.
In 1685, King Louis revoked the Edict of Nantes issued by his grandfather Henry IV in 1598, which had granted freedom of worship and other rights to French Protestants, known as Huguenots. As he issued the Edict of Fontainebleau, it gave way to the destruction of Protestant churches, the closure of Protestant schools, and the expulsion of Protestant clergy. Protestants would be barred from assembling, and their marriage would be marked invalid. Thousands of Protestants would flee and settled in England, Switzerland, Germany, and the American colonies among other places. As a result, it cost the country's labor force in exchange of the king's religious zeal for Catholicism.
The king died of gangrene at Versailles on September 1, 1715, 4 days before his 77th birthday.
Meanwhile,
His 5-year-old great-grandson succeeded him under the name of Louis XV.
meanwhile,
Let's go.
To summarize, absolutism forbids the common people from practicing their natural rights and few enjoy the limited privilege granted by the monarch. Exercising or abstaining from any religion that is not supported by the monarch is considered a serious crime. The people are restrained from their freedom of speech or to gain leadership in their country. All laws are made by the monarchs and are generally only serves your best interests. Complaints or protests against the monarch are considered high treason and are punishable by torture and death.
Today, there are countries that are ruled by absolute monarchies such as Brunei, Eswatini, Oman, Saudi Arabia, Vatican City, and United Arab Emirates.